Hello, everybody. I am now live on both Facebook and Instagram. And today I am coming in with something absolutely phenomenal. I'm really, really excited to be talking about this. I've actually been applying some of the research that I've been doing to different, um, just implementing different strategies to continue to remain in recovery from fibromyalgia. Oh, hello. Thank you so much for joining today. Um, all right, so with that in mind, so what I'm going to be talking about is autoimmune and what are usually the protocols that are recommended for those that have an autoimmune condition. Now, autoimmunity and overtraining go hand in hand. Why is that? Because usually there's adrenal dysfunction that is the underlying root cause of those particular conditions. That can affect your hormones, that can affect your training, and that can also affect how your body handles training. So, and then you probably all been doing research because if something comes up now, we have AI, right? But we're always looking and researching and thinking, okay, well, we're going to try this and we're going to try that. When really, I am very much a proponent of an individualized approach. And that's exactly what I have done with my personal journey. What I have been implementing, I have been able to run faster, keeping my heart rate down. My triathlons, I smashed my goals. Last two triathlons, I had no idea I was going to smash them that much. I have been able to train, and I have also been having a lot more grace on myself with that training because your training is going to look a little bit different when you are in recovery from an autoimmune condition and being able to manage it. So I'm going to talk about some of those strategies as well. And then implementing certain nutritional protocols but individualizing it so that it's modified completely to you and that you're not just taking away a lot of valuable food groups. Because let me tell you, your body is going to respond and your body is going to let you know what it likes and what it doesn't like. And I'm going to be kind of like breaking the myths and breaking the cycles today in those that have just been looking and researching and trying to find the best things for their best performance and peak performance and really feeling their best too, because this can really impact your quality of life, especially when you're dealing with a chronic issue and a chronic disease, and when you are trying to attain an athletic goal. But you can have both. So I wanted to bring you that hope today that you can have both, and so that's what I'm going to be talking about. So with that in mind, I'm going to introduce myself. Hello, my name is Drew Mulvey. I'm a certified dietitian nutritionist, board certified nutrition specialist, and a certified integrative sports nutritionist, which technically I am an integrative health practitioner. I specialize in athletes with autoimmunity and with disordered eating, athletes and non-athletes. I really help you to repair your relationship with food. I help you to get your quality of life back, and I really help you to reach your athletic potential by truly individualized approaches. Now, that could be so protocols are bound to fail, and that's why I really focus on those individualized approaches. Plus, I look at your mindsets and I look at your hearts, because if that's not in the right place, then I'm trying to build lasting foundations in you. And that's how you're going to be able to maintain a lifestyle where you're chasing your goals and you're able to manage any sort of issue and any sort of condition. So if that sounds like you and you've really been frustrated, you've been looking at this and you've been hearing this influencer says that, or that influencer says this, or this doctor says this, or this doctor says that. Well, there is a lot of merit to all of that. And then it's just a matter of the application. Plus with the training as well, there's training protocols, right? I have been following something from Matt Fitzgerald, and it's called the 80-20 principle. But the thing is that with those protocols, you could be doing it, but then it could, I don't want to say it sets you up for failure, but it could create burnout and almost taking away things that really are not conducive and individualized for you. So that's where I come in, and that's what I'm going to share a little bit about my story. So, and as you all know, I am training for an Ironman 70.3. That's going to be at the end of September. Have I questioned it? Of course, but it's something that I really, really do desire to do. Now, back in January, I have shared this, that I was starting to relapse with fibromyalgia. So I had adrenal dysfunction where my body was not able to produce cortisol properly. You literally feel like you're in a cloud. Your body, your brain cannot function at a pace faster than what it's capable of doing. It's almost like if you're like this, you're just going to stay like this. You're lethargic all the time. You're wanting to sleep all the time. You're not feeling well. You just have that general sense of malaise. You're not really able to maintain strength. So I have shared that with everybody. If you check back in my Instagram posts, I have shared that if you are dealing with adrenal dysfunction, some of the things that you can start to integrate into your personal training and also personal nutrition plan that can really help you to get to the other side. Now, once it comes to autoimmune conditions, this is something that I have been recommending, but they usually recommend the paleo autoimmune protocol. So paleo was, oh gosh, how old is paleo now? I want to say it's 10, maybe, no, it's older than that, maybe 15 years old. So that was birthed out of Colorado. And basically the gist behind that was that it was the closest thing to our primal ancestors in terms of nutrition. So they were hunters. It's the hunter and gatherer diet. I shouldn't say, well, yeah, it is technically. I'm going to say nutrition plan because I just don't like diet. Usually what it does, it just takes away some inflammatory foods. So gluten, dairy, grains, beans, corn, nuts, and no, that's just for paleo. I'm thinking about something else. But then just recently they have started to kind of combine, that can be an elimination diet, but combine a little bit more of an elimination diet into that. So any of those inflammatory foods, so obviously that's going to be processed sugars, that's going to be highly refined and highly processed oils. So your vegetable oils that have been cooked over and over and over and over time, many times. That can also be other vegetable oils that are very high in omega-6 fatty acids, which are more pro-inflammatory, and that could also hinder your healing. Now, that does not mean that you have to just throw omega-6s out the window. No, you need inflammation, and you need clotting. Because if you don't clot, then you are going to bleed out. And if you don't have inflammation, then you are not going to be recovering from things. So you need to have that nice balance, but it takes away those higher inflammatory omega-6s. Now, there's the paleo autoimmune protocol, so that's kind of merged what they recommend. They take away gluten, dairy, soy. Soy is on paleo too. So gluten, dairy, soy, eggs, all the grains, beans, nightshades, since nightshades can actually cause inflammatory issues, especially those with like fibromyalgia or rheumatoid arthritis, because the solanine in it can cause the inflammation in the joints if somebody is sensitive to them. So that's why they take away nightshades. Me personally, I am one of those people that I do have a sensitivity to that solanine and that I have to have a threshold. So that's something that I'm kind of getting to about the approach that I've been taking. They also take away peanuts. Sometimes they take away nuts. No, they do take away nuts. And then there's one other one that I am missing. Oh, chocolate and usually like a little bit of caffeine. That sounds super restrictive, doesn't it? Especially since one of the main sources of protein is dairy for athletes. And one of the main sources of carbohydrates are their grains. So how the heck do you manage an autoimmune condition while you are trying to train for a triathlon? Or you're trying to train for a marathon? Or how about if you're just a soccer player? Like, how do you manage that? Well, here is the thing, is that you can take bits and pieces of each of these protocols and you can individualize it into your own personal nutrition plan. Now, I am a big proponent of food sensitivity testing. Now, food sensitivity testing, what it does is it measures mediators. So and compounds that have been released from certain processes in your body, like hypersensitivity reactions in your body. There's there's technically four, but one of them is an allergic reaction. That's IgE. But there's three different classes of mediators that are usually released. And then these particular tests, they pick up on those mediators and then gives you a list of what foods that you're, sensitive to. I mean, it comes up in green or yellow or red. Now, that's really important because if you combine the two, knowing where the individual is at, then you can start to play around with it. And then you can start to incorporate foods back in that might not be paleo or it might not be paleo autoimmune protocol, but something that is going to be best for you so that you have the most energy, that you're sleeping well, that you're recovering well, that there's less inflammation that's in your body, and you're really getting a bunch of nutrients. So that's another thing behind the paleo diet. I'm going to have to say it, sorry. The paleo nutrition plan. You're getting a lot of fruits and vegetables, and fruits and vegetables are chock full of nutrients. So especially for those that are athletes, fruits are going to be your friends. I have been eating a ton of fruits. Mangoes are probably my favorite fruit ever. And I just posted about dates this past week, I believe. It was Tuesday. My body's been craving dates, and that has been the perfect little snack while I'm on the bike or after a run. And so I have been utilizing those fruits as my carbohydrates. But going back, once you have an idea of the food sensitivity test, then you're taking away specific foods that might have been on that protocol. But you start to individualize things and see how you actually feel. So what did I do? Well, I was finding that potassium and magnesium were lacking a little bit in my nutrition protocol, and that I was starting to get a little bit more, I was holding a little bit more water when I was eating grains. The nightshades, about a month ago, I overdid it on the tomatoes and I got really sick. I love tomatoes, and if you do not have issues, tomatoes are one of the most beneficial foods for anti-inflammation. It also protects you from the sun. It's delicious. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking about those beefsteak tomatoes that come out of your garden, and when you go to the farmer's market, oh my gosh. So yes, they are great. They are great unless you have issues with them. I also personally have some issues, some female issues that I need to make sure that stay balanced too. So I incorporate some traditional Chinese medicine principles in there too. So this is where the functional nutrition starts to come in, is that you see the list of foods that you can actually have, the ones that you can tolerate, modify it, see which ones that you can incorporate. So what I did is I can still have soy. So I incorporated that back in after the food sensitivity test. I'm okay with that, but I do have fermented soy if I do have it. That's important. That fermented soy actually breaks down it's so many things that are in soy. And soy is actually a very good source of genistein, which is an anti-cancer compound. But organic soy, it's important to get that because soy is one of the most genetically modified crops that's out there. And with that, it actually alters the structure of that particular compound so that it's not anti-inflammatory and anti-cancer anymore. So soy is not recommended on the paleo autoimmune, and I know that I have a threshold for it. So that's how you learn to manage, is that you find your thresholds. Can I still have tomatoes from time to time? Yes. I can still have brown rice protein powder, so I have those Go Macro bars. I'm just really, really focusing on getting up a lot of whole foods. I've noticed that I'm also a type O blood type, which does a little bit better with paleo, since our digestive enzymes or digestive fluid, we produce more, so that's how we can have a little bit more red meat. But I've implemented that. Fruits, my body loves fruits. And I took away the grains because I was noticing that I was starting to retain water when I was having the grains, and I felt really tired. I wasn't sleeping well. I still have a little bit of peanut butter from time to time, but I can't overdo it just because of some of the other things that I do have. If I do have peanut butter, I do have organic peanut butter. I get the organic PB Fit, and I usually put that in my smoothies in the morning. I've noticed with other things that, let's see, what other things that I incorporate in. I still have pea protein, so pea protein is okay with me, and that's from Truvani. So things that are really going to be whole foods, full of nutrients, full of antioxidants, fueling your body, helping you to feel better, and helping you to manage your training is going to be super, super important for your own modified approach to your recovery. Now, you might be okay with grains, but the thing is that I have talked about this before, and I'll reference it. If you see my YouTube, I have talked about autoimmune and different protocols. that grains can tend to be high in oxalates. And oxalates are compounds that, yes, can create kidney stones, but if they're not metabolized properly, they can lodge in other areas, such as your adrenals, such as your joints, your brain, and other places that it's not supposed to. That creates the joint pain, that creates brain fog, that creates extreme lethargy, and I know this from personal experience. But does that mean that everybody necessarily has an issue with oxalates? No, it could also mean that you are lacking in some plant-based calcium and magnesium, which actually helps to metabolize it too. So again, individualized approach, see what works with your body. I would look at the protocol, I would look at the food sensitivity test, and I would find your own individualized approach to it, taking away maybe some foods just for a little bit of time and then seeing how your body reacts to it. I have to say, from these particular changes that I've made, I finally did it. I have been eating more leaner meats. I have fish. My protein powder is Truvani, so I've had a lot of protein smoothie bowls in the morning. I put some anti-inflammatory seeds on the top. So I have some pumpkin seeds and hemp seeds and flax seeds. I'm okay with nuts, so I'm making my own cashew milk. I put that in there. I've been having Go Macro bars, and they seem to be really great for fuel, especially if I have to go for a long bike ride. That's with dates in there and just a lot of great stuff, and that's brown rice protein. Again, I can have a little bit of peanut butter from time to time. I'm just not having it multiple times per day, as that can also affect what's going on here. Now, how about the traditional Chinese medicine principles? Well, I have acquired something called a spleen qi nutrition protocol. Now, what exactly is that? So your spleen qi is basically the essence of your vitality. And according to traditional Chinese medicine, if that's off, then your digestion's going to be off. You're going to be really lethargic. Your hormones are going to be off. You're not going to be sleeping well. And you're just going to be overall just not a very happy person. And that's where also kind of like the general malaise can come in too. So they recommend incorporating certain foods that really help to nourish. Now, for female athletes, particularly you that might have issues with autoimmune, because actually autoimmune and hormones, they're linked. Yep. More than likely, if you have autoimmune issue, your hormones are also an issue as well. And why is that? Because estrogen is actually an anti-inflammatory. And if you don't have that, then you get joint pain. And joint pain is with autoimmune conditions. Looks like there's going to be a storm. So with that, what I would recommend is getting a food sensitivity panel done and then modifying and incorporating some things that you really love. Now, I love brownies. I love ice cream. I love baked goods. And there are always ways. That's one of the things that it can be really hard, is thinking that you have to miss out on things. I've been able to go out with friends. I've been able to go to the local ice cream shop, and I've been getting their dairy-free ice cream, which has been absolutely phenomenal. And I've been allowing myself to still enjoy those treats because that's something that's very dear to me and true to me. Now, does that mean that I have to do it from all the time? No, I'm not doing that all the time. But I am also emotionally in tune with what's going on with me. So yes, you can still enjoy. There's going to be a cookie recipe that I'm going to be sharing with everybody. Very excited about that, actually. I'm very excited about eating them. And that's really important for your fueling strategy too. So if you are not fueling properly, that's another thing, is that you can get so restrictive that you don't fuel your body properly. And then that's going to just exacerbate the problem even more, and it's going to make you feel like you have failed. And I do not want to set anybody up for that. So you got to kind of roll with the punches. Now I'm going to cover training. So training when you are in recovery from an autoimmune condition, or you are finally at the edge of the autoimmune condition and you're looking for more of a maintenance. Here is a very, very valuable lesson that I have learned. All right, I'll share my age. I'm 37, so I'm going to be 40 in 2 years and 4 months. And so with that, obviously, there is something with age and training that your body is not able to handle as much training as you used to when you were younger. But the thing is that If you're following a plan, yeah, a plan can be great, but those with autoimmune conditions or managing an autoimmune condition, listening to your body is one of the most important things that you can do. And that sometimes if you're really, really sore for multiple days, you might just have to take that one rest day and then just attack it the next day. I have had to have that conversation with myself and allow that grace upon myself that with this condition, if I start feeling like I'm going backwards, now here's the thing, if you start feeling like you're going backwards, there's a difference between not being motivated to do it and then starting to feel like I'm getting sick. So if you start feeling that way, that's when you start modifying, and it's okay to take a day off. It's okay to modify. I'm really a big proponent about training around your hormonal and ovarian cycle. This week in my training plan, I had the sprints that were actually in my training plan, and I threw that out because this is not the time that you have that. This is the week leading up to my menses, which I should be getting in the next couple of days. And that's usually when your estrogen and progesterone are low and you're not feeling well and your body is more insulin resistant and it's not pulling from those carbohydrates as well. You can do those if you need to, but you really need to make sure that you carb up around that time. So I do a lot of that training that's conducive to where I am in my cycle and for the best possible outcome. So if it would be a different story if this was the second week, so the week after my menses, because that's when estrogen is high, more anti-inflammatory, that you're going to be better at utilizing carbohydrates and pulling from glycogen and stored glycogen, and you're going to be able to do better recover from those HIIT workouts. Now, if you are still struggling with an autoimmune condition, I would highly recommend not even doing those for a time. No sprints. It gets your heart rate up, and then that could release inflammatory proteins, because if you get your heart rate up above 70%, then that's when C-reactive protein starts to go up and other inflammatory proteins. So you want to make sure that you stay within like zone 1 and zone 2. When I was getting over my adrenal dysfunction, I could not get my heart rate above. I had to keep it max 130, maybe 140. So that's like zone 2. I would say low zone 2, mostly like zone 1 that you want to stay in. Resistance training is still going to be really important because you need to maintain that strength. It's going to help you with insulin sensitivity, and it's going to be helpful for having an antioxidant. The more energy that you're producing and the more muscle that you have, the better antioxidant capacity that you're going to have. You want to maintain that lean body mass, because then if you're not, then you're not going to be able to maintain your fitness goals, let alone it's healthy to maintain that lean body mass. So you still want to incorporate resistance training in there. You can have heavier sets, just lower reps, longer rest breaks. That's the key, is longer rest breaks. And this is also conducive to overtraining syndrome. This is also conducive to those that are starting to build up their fueling strategy. Now, for those with disordered eating, as you could see, I needed to have proper fueling. And I've seen it with plenty of my clients that they give up because they've seen so many restrictions. So taking some little things out here and there, modifying it, seeing how you feel, that's going to be the most important thing for you. And then having grace upon yourself, maybe taking a day off if you need to take 2 days out of the week, and finding what works best for you to get to your goals. It is absolutely possible that you can still reach your athletic potential. You can recover from an autoimmune condition. Well, I should say you can learn to manage so that your quality of life and your athletic performance is still thriving and you don't have to live in that chronic disease. Nobody has to live like that. You are worth living in the abundance of life and being able to actually enjoy your activities, enjoy foods that you love, and enjoy life. Enjoy life. All right, so that was some of the keys that I talked about today, was finding ideal nutrition that is conducive to you with different protocols. A protocol underlines, but really kind of seeing like what foods that you are sensitive to and food sensitivities, because you could be sensitive to certain foods. I found out that I was eating something. I've done the paleo autoimmune like full-on paleo autoimmune, then found out that I was sensitive to some of the foods that I was still eating, so that I was still creating that inflammation. So that's why you want to have that hand in hand. But most importantly, especially for those who have had any sort of disordered eating, you don't want to get super restrictive, but I would highly recommend working with a dietitian nutritionist that specializes in sports nutrition, autoimmune conditions, and even disordered eating, so that you can formulate a plan that you're still enjoying the food that you're taking in. You're keeping that as much antioxidants and anti-inflammatory foods in your protocol and nutrition plan as possible, and also modifying your training so that it works best with your body. And I am that individual, and I would absolutely love to speak with you. If I have overcome it, then I know that I'm going to be able to help you to overcome it as well. And look at that. The rain came as soon as I said that. And rain is cleansing, and it's very healing as well. All right, so with that in mind, again, my name is Drew Mulvey. I am a certified dietitian nutritionist, board certified nutrition specialist, and certified integrative sports nutritionist, technically an integrative health practitioner that has been in recovery from fibromyalgia and other autoimmune conditions. So I specialize in autoimmune conditions and disordered eating, particularly in athletes. I help to repair your relationship with food. I help to get your body thriving again and to really reach your athletic potential. But I also find what's most important to reframe your mindsets and to reframe your heart so that you finally find that quality of life again, that you do not have to be a prisoner of your disease, and that you can get to the other side and actually reach your athletic potential and reach your athletic goals, because that is so good for your spirit. So if that sounds like you and this has really resonated with you, I would absolutely love to speak with you. I know that I can help to get you to the other side. I'd love to set up a phone call with you. Let's talk about your goals. Let's break you out of this cycle and finally help you to reach your athletic potential and to manage this disease so that you get your vitality back. I want to gift that to you. And I have to say one thing. I've had to invest a lot into this. This was not all free. I had to invest for a master's. I had to invest in other health practitioners, in multiple tests, in a lot of different things. And it was not cheap. But I knew that I was worth it. And I want to leave you with that you are worth it and you are worth the investment. So I'd love to speak with you. Please sign up for an icebreaker call today. And I look forward to speaking with you. All right, I have to go, everybody, because the storm is coming. All right, bye.